Hi, good evening. It's me again. Today, I just want to share a little story, just a summary of the story. And this is the story of the curious case of Benjamin Button, the story that I talk about in my previous video. And this is the story that really inspired me to live backward, to have the end in mind and to live backward, having the backward perspective of what life is all about. And the story goes like this. I have it in this little notebook which I used for all my videos, to plan my videos. This is given by made and given by a friend as a Christmas present. So it has a little clock. It has a little clock and a little cross there. So let me just read this summary of the novel to you. The story begins with a nameless first-person narrator who is ready to share with you a rather remarkable tale. His story begins in the summer of 1860 with Roger Button, a socially prominent man who owns a hardware company in Baltimore. Roger heads to the hospital to meet his newborn son, only to find his baby is actually a 70-year-old man. It turns out that Benjamin Button, as the baby ends up being called, ages in reverse. He was born at 70 and gets younger at the same rate that everyone else gets older. His parents are filled with shame at their abnormal child and force him to act like a baby, even though Benjamin has the body and mind of a much older man. He ends up being great friends with his grandfather. Most people blame Benjamin for his peculiarity and they wish he could just start acting normally. But Benjamin takes the whole thing in stride. He's a pretty easygoing guy. When Benjamin appears 50 and has actually been alive 20 years, he meets and falls in love with the beautiful young Hildegard Montserrat. Luckily for Benjamin, Hildegard has a thing for older men, and the two marry and have a son, Roscoe. Unfortunately, as Hildegard gets older and Benjamin gets younger, he quickly loses interest in his wife. Benjamin heads off to the Spanish-American War, getting younger every year. By the time he returns, and he and his son are pretty close in apparent age, much to his son's dismay. Benjamin continues to grow younger and finally enrolls at Harvard, and he looks about 18. By the time he graduates, he's young enough to go to prep school. Roscoe is increasingly dismayed with his father, especially since Roscoe's own son is approaching Benjamin's apparent age. The two of them, Benjamin and his grandson, end up playing together as children. Eventually, Benjamin is young enough to go kindergarten, and finally, too young even for that. As he gets smaller and smaller, he forgets all the things he's ever done in life. At last, Benjamin can sense only colors and the smell of milk. And finally, even those small sensations fade away into darkness. That's the end of his life, peculiar life, and it's the end of the story. One of the things about Benjamin Button is that He takes life as it is. He didn't blame fate. He didn't blame his parents. He didn't blame God. He didn't blame anybody. And he took his life as it is. Never complaining, living the max out of it. If it's a living reverse, so be it. And enjoy every moment with love, with family, with compassion, with kindness, and with joy. We'll talk more about this in my next video, but this is the story of the peculiar story of Benjamin Button. A life of reverse, a life that started with the end and ended with the beginning. Good night.